there are private schools that are implementing esports as a subject.
Mhm.
This is a real thing. This is
Yes.
something that people can learn and grow up to be professionals at.
Mhm.
And I have a small voice, so I know
Yeah.
I have to be close.
Yeah, so you said you went on to you did a radio interview once and you were like, I wonder how old they think I
Yeah,
am
I
because of my
literally
voice.
sound 12. I know
Yeah.
I do. I've heard myself. But now I
Yeah.
just don't think about it anymore.
Yeah, no, it's nice. Like, I think it's nice.
It's the only way to do it really is to
Yeah.
just do it.
Yeah.
But I've been doing more podcasts.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know Cheryl from The Citizen. She's a
Uh,
tech journalist.
vaguely,
So
maybe.
she started a podcast also, and she was so stressed, and she also doesn't like her voice. And I was just like,
Oh
just do it,
no.
just sit
Yeah.
in front of the mic and just speak.
Yeah, like hearing
It's
your own voice is also always super weird
it's
until you
always
get used to
weird.
it. Yeah, you're like,
Yeah.
oh, sounds so like I think I sound really slow
Oh,
when
but
I hear
it's
my
better to
voice.
speak slow. I
True.
had to learn to speak slow and to pause because I can just ramble sometimes.
Yes.
So it's good to speak slowly, actually.
Yeah. So I'm here with Marcé Bester. She is the TPR at Asus South Africa. Super excited to talk to her. Someone I've come across in the past quite a lot. We're going to chat about that now. But thank you so much for being here. Nice to
Oh,
have you.
thanks for having me, Chloe. It's cool to be here.
Yeah, so Marcé, you and I actually encountered each other the first time when you were with Stuff. And we did some filming. That was the first time I met you. We did some filming. I think that must have been 3 years
Yeah,
ago
a good
now.
few years ago.
Yeah, but that was a super positive experience. I remember you being really knowledgeable. You were like telling me what you were going to ask me and then helping me answer the
Wow, thank
questions.
you. Because I remember being so stressed for that interview. I just didn't like being on camera at that
Yeah.
stage. It was something I still had to learn and get used to. Um, but I felt like you carried that whole interview.
Thank you. I feel the same about you. So, but yeah, that was, it's so weird to think back on that and your sort of like career progression to where you are now. You obviously at the time, like I thought of you as this very professional person, very knowledgeable. And then you started working with Asus, not with them because you were working with them at that point
Yeah,
as well. But you started at Asus, and that must have been how long ago now?
a year ago, almost exactly.
Yeah, a year ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, and your technical public relations, how have you found it?
Um, it's been an adjustment just
Yeah.
going from being a journalist and having that freedom and being more creative to going into a corporate setting.
Mhm.
Something I've never done before. This is my
Yeah.
first corporate job. But what I do love about it is working with one brand and
Mhm.
being immersed in how that brand functions and working on the storytelling when it comes
Mhm.
to like the marketing and the PR for that brand. So in that sense, I really enjoy working in ASUS.
Yes.
Um, but coming from a journalistic background, there's a lot of things I do miss. Um, it's it's a lot of fun working with multiple brands, working with all those gadgets. I think if anyone's considering being a journalist, like look into tech and esports and gaming, it's
Mhm.
really one of the best industries, especially like tech. Tech is something that's always evolving and interesting, and you'll always have something cool to look forward to. So,
Mhm.
but yeah,
Yeah, like ASUS a very innovative company in that sense. I realized that a while ago. I was kind of like I mean with a lot of tech, right? Every year there's an improvement, there are changes, there's an innovation. And with ASUS in particular. So that yeah, that must be really, really fun to be a part of.
yeah. I actually did an interview with a journalist earlier this week. The IDC did or published their report on the PC shipments for this quarter, which has fallen like immensely, and it's actually quite alarming. It's fallen with like 40%. And the questions around that was, is the PC dying? And what is ASUS's standpoint on that? And
Mhm.
I really believe that the PC is just evolving and
Yeah.
technology is evolving. And it's hard to just say, I use like my laptop for this, and I use my tablet for this, and my phone for this. It's all becoming kind of one thing.
Mhm.
So it is interesting in that sense, and Asus is way ahead in terms of the evolution of the laptop.
Mhm.
Like we've launched a foldable laptop into the market. Like people can
Mhm.
actually buy it, and it's extremely interesting to see the development
Yeah.
of products like that and how it evolves from the internal workings. So from that standpoint, it's so cool to be working inside a brand
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
seeing how the R&D happens and how we develop marketing plans for all of those different laptops and things that we need to bring out. So
Mhm.
yeah, I'm really enjoying it. Honestly, it's something that a lot of people will never see. So
Yes, yes.
yeah,
So in terms of, I'm gonna get to the esports aspect of things, but I do want to ask in terms of like the holistic marketing approach of ASUS. I've personally seen like an evolution in the marketing at ASUS, like quite a, I don't want to say a change because it is again like we were, you were speaking of those semantics, not like a change, just like a huge growth in the marketing side of things. You're as Asus, you're tapped into so many different markets. Obviously, gaming being a very prominent market for a technology company. So, first fold of my question is kind of like, what can we sort of attribute that evolution to? What is the thinking behind the growth in the marketing at Asus? And then I'll get to my next one
yeah.
afterwards. Very
um,
professional.
I think what makes it interesting is that we are working on so many innovative products
Mhm.
across our different departments. So within ASUS, we have obviously ROG, which is our gaming brand.
Mhm.
And ROG, as far as I remember, currently holds the biggest market share for gaming laptops in this country.
Mhm.
So ROG is already very well known in South Africa and very well loved
Mhm.
as a brand. So when it comes to marketing on that, on the ROG side of things, it's um it's kind of very natural. It's not
Mhm.
something we really have to force. And we'll get into more of that when we get into the esports stuff. But ROG is a very natural marketing kind of vibe. We don't push it. We don't work on very intricate things on that side because people already love the brand so much here.
Mhm.
And then we also have um, two consumer kind of sides, which is ZenBook premium laptop, and then VivoBook, which is more entry level laptop. And each of those also have their own marketing strategies, obviously, because you're speaking to different audiences.
Mhm.
And then we also have recently launched our commercial business, which is a B2B business laptops. So, and that also has a completely different marketing segment, which we need to strategize differently. So, even though we are one marketing team and each of us have a role within that, we work on all of those different brands within ASUS, and each of them have different marketing plans and strategies, which makes
Mhm.
it very interesting and very challenging, but also exciting to work on.
Yes,
Yeah,
the sort of dynamic and the different markets.
yeah,
Yeah, I think
and that
that
makes
must
it
be.
super fun.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Yeah, also a lot of sort of photography and videography involvement. I know
mm,
you guys are working a lot with COVID capture.
yes,
And that's just been like from my perspective, obviously someone who's been involved with ASUS and like watching this unfold over a couple of years, that's been really interesting to sort of follow the creative unfolding,
yeah.
of these marketing, what's the word? Like marketing things.
Yeah,
Marketing
I
stuff.
understand. So it's interesting
Yeah.
because that's actually part of our creator segment,
Mhm.
which a few years ago didn't exist really in the laptop industry. And what happened was laptop manufacturers picked up that a lot of creators, designers, animators, what have you, people who work with design software were all
Mhm.
using like gaming laptops
Yes.
because they needed
Very
the
strong, yeah.
yeah more powerful
Yeah.
GPUs and such. So Asus, and I know a lot of other laptop brands did the same thing,
Mhm.
but we actually took those components and built them into chassis that weren't gaming focused and branded
Mhm.
them as creator laptops. And that's been a massive focus for us as well over the past few years. And with that, we have been partnering with a lot of content creators, videographers. It's a massive part of our marketing strategy is to
Mhm.
show the capabilities of our laptops when it comes to creating things. And you're a
Right.
content creator.
Right.
It is important to have those kinds of capabilities in a laptop when you're
Yeah.
doing, even if you're editing just reels or TikToks or whatever.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So it's very important. It's a massive part of our campaigns strategy is to work with creators and show them how our products
Mhm.
work. And also on the gaming side, I mean,
Yeah.
gaming laptops are perfect for content creation.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you're not just kind of like presenting the brand, you're integrating the brand with people who are kind of respected in their fields.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so I mean, when I went to the UK, I think was it last year? Yeah, I took my Duo, and it was just so great because I didn't have to lug two screens around, to stream, or like take a laptop and then an extra screen,
Yeah.
or monitor screen. Listen to me. Um, and that I think was a really good test of why these sort of innovations are so useful. So speaking about working with content creators and integrating into these markets, like obviously with gaming being a brand that's so well recognized and respected already, less kind of goes into it in that respect. But in that field, in the gaming field, how do you work with gamers and gaming content creators? How do you choose who to sponsor, who to work with? How does that sort of thought process work from ASUS's side?
So I know that ASUS prefers to work with people who are very organic, very much themselves, aren't very put on. But it really just depends on whether there is a natural link or a natural kind of, I don't know, like meld, or you know what I'm
Mhm.
saying, with us and the content creator or the streamer or the gamer.
Mhm.
So what we do is we do research and we allocate or we see which people will work, and then we go through a process of vetting and just making sure
Mhm.
that everyone in the marketing department or everyone that is necessary are happy with the chosen people. So it's not really as formal as you would expect, but
Mhm.
it really just depends on whether the person or the gamer does um, the kind of content that will work for the brand and will align with the brand
Yeah.
at the end of the day. And it really also depends whether or what kind of campaign we are doing or what we
Mhm.
want to achieve with the campaign. So that will definitely influence who we work with or who we decide to work with.
Right,
Yeah.
right. And ASUS and ROG specifically with things like the ROG Invitational, where it's less sort of gaming entertainment. This is kind of like a term I've started using as opposed to like esports because they are two different things, right? Gaming entertainment and then the esports section of things. What was the goal in being involved in or doing something like the ROG Invitational and other sort of campaigns in esports that you guys work on?
I think it's important for ROG to be out there and show actual gamers on the ground that are there using our laptops or not using our laptops or not even knowing what ROG is,
Mhm.
to see that we are involved in competitive gaming and even just, as you said, gaming. What did you call it? Gaming
Gaming
entertainment.
entertainment,
Because
yeah.
that is what it is. And that
Yeah,
is a way
yeah.
to reach actual viewers and people who enjoy watching esports, not necessarily
Mhm.
only competing in esports, right?
Yes.
Because that's actually a smaller group of people
Right,
than
right.
people who actually want to just watch esports, which
Mhm.
I was surprised to know how many people do enjoy watching
Yes,
esports.
exactly.
So sponsoring an invitational or an esports tournament is more so important to reach the viewers and people to see that we are involved and we do support
Mhm.
competitive gamers,
Mhm.
than it is to just like support the competitive gamers, right?
Right,
Yeah.
right. Exactly. And what role do you think companies like ASUS have in the development of esports in South Africa? How do you think it kind of progresses the viewership, the numbers, the interest, the enthusiasm around esports?
I think it has more to do with finances than most would
Mhm.
think.
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
because esports and gaming in general is actually quite small still in South
Yes,
Africa.
yes.
It's not at the level that you'd see in Europe or America or even like
Mm,
China.
absolutely.
So to get to that point, to get to a much bigger point with esports
Mhm.
in South Africa, we need brand support.
Mhm.
If brands don't support with like financial help or with just using their organic reach on social media or their websites, there's no way that esports will grow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Honestly, like organically, you can't grow any sport without sponsorships.
Yeah.
That's just how it
Absolutely.
functions. So
Yeah.
at the end of the day, it's brand support that will help esports grow in South Africa.
Mhm. Mhm.
So it's very important.
Yeah. Do you think, like, let's say 10 years ago, you would have looked at where sort of like gaming and this whole space, like there's so many overlaps in the space, gaming, tech, esports. Do you think it would have been where it is now? Like, are you surprised by the sort of progression and like the edging towards mainstream that gaming, esports, and tech has seen in the last, let's say 10 years, like just for argument's sake.
I think I would have loved to see it a bit
Mm.
further
Mm.
by now. Um, but it is very much a South African problem
Yeah, yeah.
to lag behind in everything,
I know.
in everything when it comes to tech and gaming, and
Yeah.
um, just developing it is just so hard here
Yeah, yeah.
because we have a different kind of economy here. We have a
Mhm.
different market here. Like when you look at the numbers, the amount of gamers that actually play on PCs or on consoles is so much less than just gamers on mobile because people don't have money for
Yes.
PCs and consoles here.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's really hard to grow an industry that's based on personal investment. Like each
Mhm.
person has to invest X amount of money to be able to compete, to be able to be part of this community.
Yes.
Um, so it is much harder here,
Mm.
and it would be amazing if we can grow it much quicker than it's been growing.
Yeah, yeah.
But it is challenging. If you just look at numbers of the amount of PlayStations sold here or the amount of Xboxes sold in South Africa, it's a fraction
Mhm.
compared to just like one country in Europe, for example.
Yeah, yeah.
So we do face challenges
Mm.
here when it comes to growth. Um, Considering all those things, I think we're doing great.
Yeah.
I think we have a really active community. We have a really good support from brands, even though it could be more.
Mm.
And we have Comic Con, we have Rage, and
Mhm.
those festivals and expos are very
Yeah,
successful.
yeah,
I
I would
mean,
say
there's
so,
so many
yeah.
people I've been to the past few, and they really successful
Yeah, yeah.
because we have a lot of committed gamers here.
Yes, we have that
Um,
like hunger. We do have
we
it.
do.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, so it's cool to see. It's cool to know we have those people. It would be nice if we could have a bit more growth.
Mhm. More, please.
Yes.
So what do you think? I mean, you did speak about sponsorships and like sort of investments. Our primary problem in South Africa obviously being like a mainstream access to like internet, to hardware, the financial means to be involved in these kind of technology just from a personal consumer perspective. But apart from the financial side of things, do you think that's the only or the biggest setback, or do you think there's something else we can do without necessarily solving those problems overnight to encourage more um, involvement in like tech, esports, gaming, entertainment, etc.?
So a really interesting thing that has started happening is that there are private schools that are implementing esports as a subject, which is
Yes.
really cool.
Yeah.
And that is a way to start doing it, to show people
Yes.
like this is a real thing. This is
Yes.
something that people can learn and grow up to be professionals at. And so I think a big part of that is around education of children, education of parents of those children to
Yes.
understand
Yes.
that this is real. Your
Yes.
child isn't just a gamer or just like a slack off kind
Yeah,
of
like that
child.
stereotype of like he just wants
Yeah,
to like game the whole
yeah.
day. Like, yeah, maybe that's not good, like for someone
It's
to
not
game the
good.
whole day, but
But if they want to work on it to be a professional one
yeah,
day,
take
then
it seriously. Yeah.
and then around that, I know Centennial School
Yes.
in, I don't know where they are, Sunning
Sunning
Hill.
Hill,
Yes.
yes.
So they actually built a whole esports
I've seen
arena,
it.
and
It's
it's so
amazing.
cool.
Yeah.
And they host small tournaments there. They teach
Yes.
children not only about like competitive gaming, but also how to stream, how to do commentating,
Mhm.
how to
Building
all
PCs, yeah.
building PCs, all of the technical knowledge you need.
Yes.
So, and that's amazing. And I think that's also a massive part of growing the industry.
Huge, huge, yeah. You guys have ROG equipment at Centennial.
Yes.
Yes, I saw that.
Yeah. So all of the PCs and I think the monitors also are all
Yes.
Asus in the esports
Yeah,
arena. Yeah.
that was super cool to see when I was there. I was like, oh wow. Yeah, I think you're right, and definitely the point of like educating parents in that this is a serious thing. It's not obviously it's competitive, and the more people are taught or the more people understood, the more people understand that it's a serious thing, the more people get involved, the more competitive it becomes. But just like physical sport, right? It can be just as serious, if not more
Yeah.
serious than that.
100%.
Yeah.
So my parents both come from a rugby background.
Mm-hmm.
Both my parents were rugby journalists,
Oh wow.
and my
And
mom was
okay, I see where it comes from now.
yeah, my mom was the PR manager for the Lions for like 20 years.
Okay. Oh
Yeah,
wow.
so I see a lot of overlap with the traditional sports, and
Yes.
she managed the PR for this n- national, like they basically celebrities, the
Mm-hmm.
sports people. But
Yes.
I see a lot of overlap between how that is managed and how esports can be
Mm-hmm.
managed or can
Exactly.
be at some points.
Yeah.
We are getting there,
Mm-hmm.
obviously, but it's so similar,
Mm-hmm.
and just looking to traditional sports for guidelines and
Yes.
how we can get the sport to that point
Mm-hmm.
um is a good way to do it, I think. I mean, if you just look at that, there's so many people that work in that industry, in the sports industry, that
Mm-hmm.
have different roles.
Right.
And now we're getting into like the business of gaming. There are so many different roles that people can take on. Like you
Yes.
said, it gets competitive, but not every person's going to be a Counter
Exactly.
Strike player
Yeah,
at a
exactly.
professional level. Like they
Right.
will all need team managers and
Mm-hmm.
assistants and financial people and PR
PR,
managers and
yeah.
marketing people.
Yeah.
So there are so many opportunities to grow this industry
Mm-hmm.
in different ways, and that's again where education is key. But that won't happen until a lot of schools and a lot of universities even
Mm-hmm.
also kick in and start doing
Like taking it
more
seriously.
education around it,
Exactly.
because
Exactly.
it can be a serious industry.
Yeah, I mean, anywhere really where there's like money involved, people are going to be interested, right? Like the passion comes in
Exactly.
with the players and the job titles, but where there's money involved, people start listening.
Yeah, it's so
Yeah,
true.
yeah, it's interesting. I didn't know that about your parents. That's such a what a cool like thing. Like you also,
But that's like where it comes from.
yeah.
Even though I hate rugby, I
Oh, do you?
completely don't like rugby at all. So that doesn't help.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
yeah, I grew up around like sports my whole
yeah.
life. Like I don't remember a moment where the TV wasn't on rugby.
Really? So you must know a lot.
Well,
Like,
yeah, but I don't want
yeah,
to.
it's like, can't I swap that for something else?
Yeah.
Oh, that's so funny. So where do you see the sort of progression in esports? in terms of like working with brands, there has to be kind of like a symbiosis or like an ecosystem, with brands, players, all these people that serve different roles in the esports and gaming entertainment world. Where do you see it going in South Africa in particular in the next few years?
That's hard to say. A good point to start is like we did, sponsoring an esports school or a
Mhm.
subject
Mhm.
to get more children into the industry and get more people educated around it. I think brands have to invest more into doing
That
that,
grassroots
especially.
level, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And then also, obviously, sponsoring tournaments and making sure those tournaments are well respected
Mhm.
on an international level,
Mhm.
so we can be perceived internationally as a major player in the esports
Mhm.
industry. Because at that point, um, we will have the opportunity to compete more in international, well-known tournaments.
Right.
So I do think that's a massive part of it, and using that brand leverage will also help. Obviously,
Mhm.
convince people that we are a, a player to watch.
Right.
Yeah.
What, if you can say, and you don't have to answer, but what esports orgs in South Africa do you think are doing really well for that? If you can, you don't have
Yeah,
to,
the thing is,
but
we are partnered with
yeah.
one, so it's so hard to like. I can, I'll just say, like, because we partnered with Metal State, I think they
Yes.
are doing very, very
Yeah,
well. And
Middle State, I mean, is kind of a parallel. They wouldn't necessarily be like they're not like a team, right?
yeah, yeah, no,
Yeah,
I know,
no,
I understand,
I
but
adore
that kind
Middle
of, I kind
State.
of
Yeah.
appreciate that because they they're not aligned to one team.
Yes.
It's more neutral.
Yes.
Um, so that's cool, and I think that's also why we are partnered with them. We
Mm-hmm.
do enjoy having more scope to work. Now we can work with other teams if
Exactly.
we wanted to.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, we've had really good success working with Metal State. I do respect them a lot in the industry.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, same. Absolutely. Like Barry was on here and I also said to him, I was like, I just like love you. I'm like a huge fan of Middle
I just
State.
like love you.
I love you guys. You're just so great. And everyone from Middle State is just so like it sounds like I'm being so lame, but like everyone is so nice,
Yeah.
Like the
They're always like
choice.
willing to help
Yeah,
and
like just so hardworking. The choice of people that, work at Middle States, just such great
yeah,
people, like
I agree.
honestly. Yeah. Um, so yeah, agree with
But
you
it
there.
is a really like, I guess every industry has um their negative people or points of
Yeah,
things,
yeah.
but I feel like the gaming industry in South Africa is a really like positive industry. There's really good people there.
They are really good people. I agree with you though, and I don't know if that's because it's still so small, so people are like very
Probably.
much accountable, or if
Yeah,
it's like the type
probably.
of people that kind of expect everyone else to be real and like check each other,
Yeah,
on
maybe
things.
it's that.
Yeah, so I don't know, but I tend to agree with you. Obviously, there's like the odd like drama here and there, but I actually really agree with you. Everyone has just been, everyone's just really impressive in their own right somehow.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you're the first person to bring something here, which is really
I
exciting.
I didn't know, like, I feel like when you visit people, you bring. It's probably
Yes.
just the Afrikaans in me. Like,
It's
you
just
have
a
to bring
polite
something.
thing to do.
And even though it's not a gift, it's just something to show people. Because I
Yes.
get so passionate about toys.
Yeah, you love gadgets, so you
Yes.
brought something to show us, and I know you can't say everything about
Yeah,
it
I
or too
can't say
much
too
about
much,
it, but it
but
is beautiful,
it
and
is
I'd
so
really like
nice.
to see
Okay.
it.
Okay. So this is actually the new console made by ROG. It's our first console ever. Um, and it just literally landed this week, and I'm so excited to show everyone.
It's so cool, boxed so nicely as well, really beautiful packaging.
So it might have fingerprints because I was playing on it.
Yeah.
But it's so nice.
It's beautiful.
Just hold it.
Honestly. Okay, I'm scared I dropped it.
No,
It's okay.
it's so light actually.
It is light, actually. Wow. This is so it's such a nice, like, comfortable size as well.
Yeah.
So what can you tell us about it without
So
giving away
it's
too much?
called the ROG Ally. It runs on a custom AMD chip, and it has 16 gigs of RAM and a 512 gig SSD.
So
So
it's
you can actually run, it's also Windows 11 based
that's crazy,
operating system. So you can actually run any game you can run on your PC, basically.
Yeah, that's insane. You said 16 gigs RAM,
Yeah.
and you've got here an SD slot, a USB-C. Is that an SD slot?
Yeah.
Yeah, a USB-C
And then it
audio
also
jack.
has a port that supports our external GPU. So you can add an external
Oh
GPU
my
up
word.
to an
So
RTX
oh
4090.
my gosh, that's insane.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. Are they, and I love this. I love the RGH, or what, not
It's like a
etching. What would you?
vent.
Yeah, like the air vents at the
Yeah.
back. It's just really considerately designed. Also, like, always a huge fan of Asus design considerations, you
It's
know?
really the best.
Yeah, so does it, can I ask you if it comes in other colors?
No.
Okay, so it's brought out in
So
white.
it's only in white. I don't know
Mm-hmm.
why they decided that, but I kind of like the white.
I like it. Yeah,
Mm.
I think it looks great.
What else can I tell you? I don't know.
Color.
What else do you want to know? Oh, you can dock it to a display or like a monitor or a TV,
Okay.
which is quite cool. And you can connect controllers, external controllers, which
Mm-hmm.
is also nice.
Mm-hmm.
And you can add a mouse and keyboard if you'd like.
That's
So you
cool.
can turn it into a little mini PC even.
So amazing for traveling. Yeah, and my
Yeah,
understanding is that, like, it's a mini gaming PC, so you would be
literally.
able to have
Like all your
certain
games.
things on it.
Yeah, you can have your games on it. You can have
Yeah.
like all of your game launches on there
Yes,
because
that's what I wanted
it's
to ask about it. Like, can you
yeah.
have game launches on it?
Yeah.
That's so, yeah, that's so exciting. I'm super excited to see more about it. Again, just like innovation all the
Yeah,
way.
exactly. Coming back
Like,
to what we spoke about in the beginning,
yeah,
like the PC is evolving
yeah,
and Asus does it so well. Like
mm,
technology
absolutely.
isn't stagnant at all.
Yeah, yeah,
This is literally like a tiny PC, but also a console
yeah,
that you can take on a plane or whatever and
exactly.
play your games.
Yeah, that's what I'm kind of thinking about again. Like, you can travel with it, play on it while you're kind of traveling, get to the other side, dock it, attach a mouse and keyboard, put it on a
Exactly.
monitor. Like, yeah, that's amazing. Super excited to see more on the ROG Alley.
Yes.
ROG.
That's fine. A lot of people say ROG.
I know,
It's only really
yeah.
since I started working there that I knew it was ROG.
ROG, yeah. I
Yeah.
also just thought it was ROG the whole time, and then as well, like, when I did some work with ROG, I was like, okay, I keep needing to remind myself it's
But
ROG.
the interesting thing is most people know it as ROG,
ROG,
so
yeah,
it's
yeah.
fine. I understand.
Cool, Marcé. Thank you so much. I know you are very busy, but it's so nice
No,
to see
man.
you.
Of course, I'll be here.
Yeah, like, it's always nice to see you, and always nice to see what you and Asus are up to.
Thank
So yeah,
you.
thank you for taking the time, and enjoy driving home in the rain.
Thank you. I'll be safe. No, nice to be here. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you. Always great. Thanks so much.